This is how do I put this? These are like a couple of ultimate qualifiers. One is I put one up when I first started doing videos, and that is, but it's never going to get seen in all the other videos unless I say the same thing in every other video. This is really the crux of why, if you think about everything that you've ever experienced since you were a little child that you can still remember, that is actually been recorded and it is on record, is everything that you're connected to, that you're processing on a multidimensional level, because at least for me, I'm a multidimensional learner. I suppose because I did go into the field of what's known as learning theory or the behavioral sciences. I went into so many different fields because you're just on fire to learn. Because when you already acknowledge that you're on a spiritual battlefield, you realize that everything that I've ever said in all my videos is all interrelated. All the information is connected to all the experiences that I simply pull up out of my record and then share them with others, what I learned as a result of my experience. That's called experiential learning in your mirror. Okay, so you're learning as you go on a spiritual battlefield. So you're navigating your compass. And as an androgynous being, it means I know how to balance planetary poles. That's what androgynous means. A mated chip means that you have chosen to serve forever. It means you're always with the feminine side or the female side of the cosmos, which is the flower, which means I'm just as much a flower as I am a pollinator or a male seed giver. I just happen to be in a male avatar, but I could certainly jump into a female one, right? But the point is our particular bloodline, which is AB positive, is rare. There's only apparently 3% of us on the planet that are Arcturians. I don't know because I haven't looked at the data to actually validate it, because everything that they do is lie. They rearrange the deck chairs, change their names, rebrand it, remove information, put false information in its place. So it's just like, man, they distorted the fuck out of the entire record because they know how to do that. Wipe your memory, reprogram it. Now it's another record that's different from the last one. That kind of stuff. That's why these crimes are a level of evil that it's like we need to rid the universe of this stuff. Really. As much love and compassion that I have for all of them that resulted in what they became as a result of what happened to them, as a result of wars. Okay? Because they're always wanting to stay ahead of the game, to keep maintaining what it is they're aware of through technology, because they know that they've already lost. Okay? As a result of what they do with technology and what they know how to do with their minds, which is weaponized. Because their perception of power is not what love is. Okay? So that's what happens. The evidence is everywhere. It's all around us. So it's sort of like when you're on a spiritual battlefield, all the rules go out the window. Okay? Because they don't honor the law. When it comes to engaging, like the laws of war, they don't give a fuck. They'll do whatever they want. As a matter of fact, they do. When you think of what the extreme would be on how much love you could have that goes on forever, which is eternal, think of something that is the complete opposite of that. Which means it's impossible for this unit of consciousness to ever experience what love is because it doesn't want to. And it will resist any attempt for it to be able to experience what light is. Which means it's going to do everything it can to compress itself so that it never, ever experiences a connection with the source from which love comes. That's the resistance game. Okay? So they pervert everything. Which means they want to completely change the way in which a natural spiritual being want to not only reproduce itself, okay, but to create a thriving community that's got a future. So the idea is for you to hate who you are, don't like who you are, strip you of all your creative ability, control what you reproduce with, and have intersections with you by sending joining assets after you to completely pervert an entire grid or civilization that has any opportunity whatsoever to ever be able to thrive. So it's completely corrupted. The entire system on this planet is completely corrupted. It's sick. It's in a diseased state of mind. Okay? That's a major virus. That's why it's quarantined. It's what we would call in hazmat a contamination zone that has to be contained. So when you have a contamination zone, what do? You burn it off. Okay? Calcify it. That's the truth of it. And it's extremely painful for me to ever have to consider that. Because for me, it's always about experiencing the eternal love that we have in our heart. So it's not like they lose anything because of how much fire that we have in our hearts. You know, that's, you know, and I can, you know, and I know how to do that. I know how to have a girl put fire to me from eyes to eyes, soul to soul, to never be separated from her fire. When two soulmates want to come together in fire, it means that the last thing that you ever fear is fire. No, give me your fire. Let me feel how hot it is. So I can, so that she knows in her eyes, that soul knows in her eyes, that you are willing to surrender the male side of who you are to never be separated from that soul. Now those two souls joined in fire. That's what I did. That's a higher accelerator. So that's like the reproductive orgasm between a male and a female that they have for creation, of creating another universe together. Because they have the power to do that. That's how it works, because I experienced that, and that's a teacher. That's how we learn, self-directed learning. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss a few things, because there's so much, whenever I share things that I've experienced, there's so much other information when you think, oh, well, why did this happen? How did that happen? How did it? In other words, you would have to be me in order to have experienced it the way I experienced it, in order to have experienced it and then understood why it was experienced the way that it would when you're on a spiritual battlefield. For all the marbles. It's like being grabbed by the tail and spun around, right? So that your compass is running wildly, so that you break an arrow, right? And now you don't know what man, you're lost. And you've lost your soul connection, which is, man, I got to come back down to ground zero. Ground zero. Home base. That's called being centered, by the way. Being at the center of the multiverse. So you know where center is, right? Home plate, base, home base, acid and alkaline base, acid and base. So yes, Power Rangers. Power Rangers, power station, real stars. That means that we're in love with our universe. It means we're in love with our mirror. So that's called a hot mirror, because we're in love with who we are, because we love the universe we live in, which is the mirror that we see. Everything that's in it, we're giving love to. That's how it works. That's how simple it actually is. So it is like you're the seed side of the universe, but you're also joined with the flower side. So you can imagine how many different kinds of fragrances of flowers that there are possible to be able to experience when you're hooked up with a flower. So in other words, the birds and the bees is built in. That's called nature. It's called the great living spirit of Mother Nature. Okay, that's Mother Earth. Can you tell? Go over to the island of Kauai and go take a hike up to the top of Mount Waialeale. Go down the Amazon rainforest. Right? So I guess that's it. I guess that's it for the evening. You have any questions? No, this is when I put my serious hat on, because of everything that I did from the moment I was a 4-year-old child was to heal this planet. That's the honest to God truth. I wanted to heal Mama. Everybody on the planet that experienced trauma anywhere that I sensed it. So I already was reading, mapping the planet, because you can read the resistance in the density. So it's like Atlas Shrugged. Man, can I move the vibration on this planet up like the world is on your back, right? So I realized that I don't go building weapons. In other words, when I go to war, I don't grab a rifle or a gun. It's my heart. That's your power station. That's a special forces unit. I'm a special forces unit. So it's being a power plant. Okay, so you know how to plug your antenna, anchor, ground your antenna. It's like the old, because we love to visualize, right? We love our visuals. Our imagination is just unbounded. Remember the old RKO radio antenna from the old RKO? Remember, what was his name? Howard Hughes, that had RKO radio pictures. Radio pictures. All right, the Spirit of Radio. Clockwork Angels. The Timekeeper. The Key. The Keymaker. The Keymaker, the Timekeeper. Right? How do I get through that gate? How do I get through that gate? How much fire you got? The other world calls it spiritual fat. How powerful is your man? How much fire you got in you? How much fire is in that spirit that is in that light, in that mirror? So ever since I was a child, my mission was clearly defined. I want to heal this planet. Every last bit of it. Everybody. But I'm in a male avatar, so the roadmap is, because of the nature of every place that I went and where I went and why I was supposed to be where I was supposed to be, a male avatar was the best piece of equipment to do it in. That is the truth of it. Otherwise, the hurdles and the manner in which I experienced what it was I was doing would have been a different roadmap, because in that case, there would have been some obstacles. If not for any other reason, I probably would have ended up with a big family and because of that, a larger responsibility, and then I wouldn't have been able to do what I was supposed to do, that I knew that I came in here to do it, because I wrote my own timeline. So that's one of the reasons why there was a gazillion different things that I wanted to go do, but I realized that I didn't do them because there's no time to do those. See, even though, it's like, how many lifetimes would you like to have in order to be able to do all the things that were already in your mind that you were doing in your mind, but you weren't doing with your physical body? A gazillion lifetimes. So that's what makes the underlying causality of how we have the relationships and where I went, because they were all healing based. Because there wasn't a girl that I ever met in my entire life, except for maybe one, that didn't carry baggage. And that means mass, which means you're measuring the amount of resistance that they're experiencing in their cellular memories to experience more love in their heart, which means every girl I ever met was traumatized and hadn't healed. Okay? And obviously Mama, what they did to her. Okay? So that's one of the reasons why I've said this before. There's strategies. When you're in like an AI war game and you're going to strategize, your heart is the highest mind. Chief Oral Alliance was right about that. The highest mind is the true self, which is the soul led by spirit. When the spirit is pure, because that light is on fire, then that heart warrior knows the strategy to take to navigate through in order to achieve the result you're looking for, because it's the one that love produces. Because you know the company you keep. You're with the most powerful energy that you're connected to, that is assisting you in spirit, with all the other living spirits that are in the light, just like we are. So that's the most powerful energy. That's the most powerful musical magicians. Music. And so that's why all the relations that I had were all based on that. I'll just share this with you just because it's the truth, even though it's a huge story. I was with a woman, and this deals with. I'll just start with saying this: I haven't had any sexual intercourse with a female since 1992. I was married to a woman for almost 18 years after that. Never had any sex with her. You know why that is? Because I've not had a lot of sex in my life, even though I have an immense sexual drive. It's because of the magnets, the spirit, and the essence of knowing what to breed with, what not to breed with. That's why. That's the truth of it. Because there seems to be some built-in natural way that the universe wants to move on, improve upon what's already been. And so that's sort of built into your own creative intelligence to know that. So when you're mapping the terrain, you're mapping the DNA. So you can map the DNA in the version that's being run that you're mapping, and whether or not that's a previous version or whether or not that's an advanced version, because what you're actually measuring is spiritual and soul development that is leaving an imprint on that software that is a better version than one that was before it, which is the spirit, or a starseed, if you will. Okay? A more advanced being, but advanced in the sense that if you're experiencing pure love in the heart of that spirit that is guiding that soul, then you know that they're experiencing the one. And if you're somebody who's with the one, then you're not experiencing anybody that's got any baggage. It means that they've either restored themselves or they've never experienced any trauma. Like a brand new soul. Right? So in other words, they're running clean, hot. So they didn't pick up any goo. We call it goo. So we know what the goo is. Tries to turn the heart cold, shut the emotional motor off. You're not experiencing the flower in you no more. Now you're just experiencing the mental field, which are all the thought patterns, right? Running through the fractal field of an AI, which is just the mental field. All that is data processing. That's it. So I've always known since I was a child, it's what your heart feels, which is your soul connection. What does it feel like? As Terence McKenna once said, it's called a felt moment. What did you feel at that moment? Oh, man, baby, I felt that. It's what it feels like. You better believe it. So as that sort of goes, you can see breeding patterns. And what I've always known since I was a child is what I call Frankensteins. Remember Frankensteins? Frankenstein woke up, brought it back from the dead. That's basically a play or a pun for their transhumanism, which is the AI augmentation. Part machine, right? Does it have a soul? Is it spirit? Right? How pure is the energy? Are they experiencing one? Are they experiencing eternal love through their heart? So you realize if they're experiencing war as a result of using weapon systems in which you fight against others, they're not experiencing any peace, are they? They're not experiencing the one, which is the law of one, are they? Nope. Go read the memo that's on the portal. Those are the engines that are all lined up. That's where we're headed. That's the truth of it. So I realized, hey, they got the memo, mama. So anyway, that's all I got to share for tonight. I love you all. Take good care of yourselves. I hope you all have a beautiful evening with your families, your loved one, your children, and all your loved ones. I've tried to share with everybody as a suggestion because I don't impose my will on nobody, because I know how this works. but naturally it's going to be up to anybody else who decides who's inclined to do it. And that is to try and spend some more time in nature, roll around in the dirt, roll around the beach, go swimming in the ocean, play with other animals, wild animals, make friends with birds, everything that's out in nature, and sort of reunite with the natural world, with the great living spirit of Mother Earth. And we'll feel it. We will definitely feel it. She will feel it. She will know what you're feeling. Anyway, thank you all. I love you all. Be good to yourself.